Hi, my name is Emma Kendrick, and this past fall of 2024, I took the marketing research class at the Kroll School of Business. My professor, Les Harmon, gave us a task of creating a marketing research report for a small business of our choosing. I was partnered with Lorenzo Maduri, and him and I began door knocking and trying to find a small business that both of us liked. We found the business AT230 Cars and Coffee in La Habra. We met the owners, Stanley and Shin, and they introduced us to their barista, Kyla, who was kind of part of their whole team. And we began discussing what we would do for their marketing research report, what their research objectives were, and what they wanted us to find out from their customers. After talking to them, we noticed that there was a lack of college student presence inside the store, as well as a lack of foot traffic during the weekdays. They hosted car events on the weekends, so it was really crowded on the weekends. And of course, they had all their different pop ups since there are cars and coffee shop. Now, this cars and coffee shop basically means that they had an auto shop attached to their coffee shop, which was super cool. Obviously, combining my passions for cars and coffee, and most other people's as well. When discussing the research objectives, of course, we wanted to make sure that we had good secondary research on other cars and coffee places in Los Angeles. We looked at 8 articles and 9 websites, as well as conducting our own focus group of 9 people. It was really cool to do the focus group. Lorenzo and I actually knew everybody in the focus group. 2 of them were already customers at AT230, and then over half the group was college age students. So we wanted to get good feedback to see what they were looking for in a coffee shop. Along with that, we decided to do 26 customer interviews in store. Lorenzo and I decided to divide and conquer as that was what's best for our schedules. When working with the team, there's very different dynamics. And for Lorenzo and I, it was easier for our schedules if Lorenzo would do the customer interviews in the morning and I would handle the ones in the afternoon. We prioritized weekday customers to make sure that we were evaluating the research objectives that Stanley and Shin had given us prior, as well as just asking them questions about what they liked about AT230, what kept them coming back, and etc. We built our survey on Survey Pro. It consisted of 69 questions, and it was a one-page survey that was double-sided. Halfway through the distribution, we noticed that there was a lack of people filling it out. And so one of the ways we decided to kind of help that was create a digital survey on Google Forms that was identical to the one we had in store, and it was on a QR code found throughout the store in case people didn't want to fill out the hard copy. We had an incentive on the survey that we had already discussed with Stanley and Shin prior, which was a discount on drinks when you turned in the survey. What we noticed too, though, is that a lot of people were not just seeing the survey for what it was. And we placed it towards the front of the coffee shop so that way they would see it when they were at the register. And then Lorenzo and I would sit there multiple times during the first week of the distribution and just kind of look and see what customers were doing. Unfortunately, what we noticed was a lot of customers wouldn't see the survey until after they had already ordered. So most of them wouldn't fill it out. So we decided that we would have to go in and actually promote the survey ourselves, because we had the false assumption that people would just pick up the survey because they saw the incentive like most other people would, but they didn't. And that pivot was something that we really needed to maybe start sooner, but we spent multiple days at the coffee shop, coming sometimes multiple times a day, spending multiple hours there, and just giving the surveys out to many people. After the whole distribution time period, we collected 88 surveys, including 12 digital and the rest all hard copy surveys. We did have the struggle of not getting that many surveys filled out. But again, as one of our research objectives has stated, there was a lack of foot traffic. So the idea of actually having customers in store was going to be a little more difficult. And we knew that going into it. We began running data analysis through Survey Pro, looking at crosstabs, select filters of all of our data, and creating a summary text of basically a master key of all the responses from the survey. And what we noticed in our means and standard deviations is that we had really high standard deviations. A typical standard deviation is around 1.1, maybe even 1.9. Anywhere under 2 is a typical standard deviation, but our results showed high 2s or even 3s on some of them, which showed that a lot of our customers weren't agreeing on the same things. And there was a very dramatic change in their answers. So that was a gold mine for us, as when we began looking at crosstabs and other things like that, we found all of these different data niches and things like that. Most of those questions had to do with the menu. So we began looking at our menu data, and we found a lot of tables with menu visibility and menu additions. A lot of people had different opinions on it. So looking at that was really good for us because we did have a lot of questions regarding the menu. And this was absolutely amazing for us in our recommendations for Stanley and Shin later on. When we presented them the report, they were super excited because they had also added a question about the drive-through, which included why people wanted the drive-through, if they strongly agreed. And that was also a question of large standard deviation, as the customers were pretty much split in between whether they wanted it or they didn't want it. And then we also added a question involving why should the drive-through happen? And a lot of it was just convenience. And what we noticed too is we could run that crosstab on the convenience and are they to go customers or are they stay in customers? Because if they're to go customers, that may be perfect, but we don't want our stay in customers leaving because of the drive-through. So that was a really helpful crosstab that we could run and look at and provide Stanley and Shin with that data. And they ended up loving it. They loved the whole survey. There was a lot of additions to the menu that they could add. They were super excited about it. And I really appreciated all of their feedback and the hard work they helped us with and all the different things they gave us. My entire project is posted on my ePortfolio as well as my LinkedIn. You can download it directly from either of those, or if you want, the link is down below to my LinkedIn, and it is one of my first posts. Contact me if you have any questions, and thank you so much for watching.